Today, Bill Slezak, the Chief of the Harbor Programs branch of the U.S. Corps of Engineers, and Bryce Wisemiller, Project Manager of the Corps, will discuss their agency's role in the Port of New York and New Jersey, and particularly as it affects the city of Elizabeth. In particular, they will be discussing the channel deepening project that is taking place in the Newark Bay and the Arthur Kill that is critical to keeping Port Elizabeth and New York Container Terminal competitive. Bill recently returned from a 14-month deployment to Afghanistan. Bill, on behalf of the Mayor and the City of Elizabeth, I would like to thank you for your service. It is great to have you back on the program, and Bryce, welcome to you as well. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing well today.
Good.
Thank you.
Now, Bill, a short time ago, to you is probably a long time ago, I remember we had a pleasure of talking to you on the phone prior to your departure, Michelle McBean and I and some of the folks at Future City, and we wished you off and welcome back after your safe journey.
Well, thank you very much, Alonzo. It's great to be back in the city of Elizabeth, who we've had a great relationship over many years.
How was your trip?
Alonzo, it was really a wonderful experience. The Corps of Engineers were basically in the construction business, and we're there to help build the country, both from a security standpoint and also infrastructure, roads, dams, schools, that sort of thing. And hopefully we'll make a difference in terms of making Afghanistan a safer place.
Now, little birdie told me that you had the privilege of having your wife accompany you on this trip. Is this true?
Yes, yes. I was very fortunate that my wife was also able to get a position, and so we really had the tremendous opportunity of serving together. Again, Good. This is certainly a highlight of my career with the Corps of Engineers.
Well, thank you for what you've done, and congratulations. Welcome back.
Thanks again.
Now, can you first explain the role of the Army Corps and the New York, New Jersey Harbor, and the purpose of the dredging that is now taking place?
Sure, Alonzo. As many people know, I mean, one of the reasons why the New York metropolitan area has become the great population center and also the center of finance is because we're blessed with a natural harbor. New York, the Port of New York in New Jersey, up until the 1900s was any ship from around the world could easily enter into the Port of New York and New Jersey. However, as ships started getting larger, there had to be some improvements made to the shipping channels, and that's when Congress basically tasked the Corps of Engineers to deepen some of these channels to accompany the larger ships. And over the past 120 years or so, we've been gradually deepening the channel to meet the needs of the shippers. Mm-hmm. The current project that we're doing will deepen the channels to 50 feet, which is the equivalent of about a 5-story building. Mm. That's how deep the water is. And the reason for that is to allow these large container ships, many of which come from China, Korea, to get into the port. These ships we're dealing with, because they come so far away, we're dealing with an economy of scale, where if we can reduce the unit cost for bringing in these goods, it costs less for the consumers. Mm-hmm. So that's what this is really all about: is to keep this area, this region, competitive. In order to do that, and particularly now with the Panama Canal being deepened, this project will be done to allow ships that can pass through the new Panama Canal to come into the Port of New York and New Jersey and keep this area the #1 port on the East Coast. Okay.
Now, is the dredging project harmful to the environment?
In reality, what we're looking at this project is we're actually cleaning up the environment. There is, and Bryce will be getting into this a little bit more about the different types of material that we're dredging, but because this is an industrialized area, we do have some contamination. We work very closely with our state and federal regulatory agencies to ensure that any material that is contaminated is treated mm-hmm. and used appropriately. One of the goals of this project was to use all the material that we dredged during this deepening project in some environmentally beneficial way. So we're going to be, altogether, we're going to be removing about 40 million yards of material. So that's the equivalent, for those that remember the World Trade Center, we're talking about 40 towers of material that's being removed from this project. Wow. And some of the ways we're utilizing this material is we've been using it to cap contaminated areas, like for instance the Jersey Gardens, which was an industrialized area and has been reclaimed using some of this clean material that came out of the harbor. We're also using some of the material to restore salt marshes. We're working very closely with organizations like Future Cities, like the Baykeeper, to improve the environment. So that's what the goal is here, is that we don't see, this is not a matter of economics or environment, it's really both. And the way we look at our effort in New York Harbor is characterized by these three rings. We look at a navigation component, again, which the Corps of Engineers has been responsible for over 100 years. We also have the environmental component, where we're looking to not only minimize environmental impact, but to actively improve habitat and the environment. And then we also look at public safety. The fact that we're in an area where we are subject to floods, sea level rise, hurricanes, and so we have a very active role in terms of improving public safety.
So it sounds like we get to recycle some of the stuff we take from the bottom there.
Absolutely. That's a great way of putting it, is we're looking to recycle 100% of the material that we're removing during this project, and to utilize this material to improve the environment.
So win-win situation. Sounds good.
Yes.
Now, Bryce, could you explain why drilling and blasting is needed, and whether the residents and homeowners in Elizabeth need to be concerned?
Yes, I can, Alonzo. As we've been deepening the harbor, as Bill mentioned, it's been going on now for about 80 years through many of the inner parts of the harbor. Most recently, in the early 2002 to 2006 time period, we did do some deepening in the Arthur Channel that's here in the southern part of Newark Bay. Right now we're deepening the channel even further, going from 41 feet to 50 foot navigable depth. We have two active contracts, both with a company called Northeast Dredging, that involve the area right here north of Shooter's Island, which we refer to as the AK1, and the current contract, which is the Arthur Channel Contract 2, which is underway. As we've been going deeper, we've been encountered different types of material. As Bill mentioned, the superficial material that we deal with is typically a black, muddy silt material like this, which does have some elevated levels of contaminants. So what we do with this material is we process it with Portland cement, which solidifies the material, makes it more earthen-like, and then it also stabilizes and binds the contaminants into the sediment matrix. That material then gets used at a variety of different impacted existing upland sites, old landfills, or industrial sites. As Bill mentioned, the Jersey Gardens Mall, the parking lot used to be in an old industrial site that actually was remediated in the late 1990s using processed dredge material from the deepening project. But once that material is all removed, which it has been in the Arthur Channel Contract 2, we then have a variety of other materials. There's glacial clays and till material, which is basically cobblestones, sandstone, shale, other materials that the glaciers washed down during the last ice age, filling in pockets. But the predominant material that's in this contract is this, which is a red-brown shale material. It's a very hard material, and the only way to dredge this material is to first fracture it by drilling and blasting the material with explosives. So when we deepened the channel previously, we were able to remove it all by just ripping it out with mechanical excavators, but because it's become more competent as we've gone deeper, that won't work now. So the contractor right now is working in the contract. They've already started doing drilling and blasting operations. The drilling and blasting operations begin on the northern side of the channel at the eastern end and will be moving westward towards this summer, primarily for navigational issues related to that corner turn area. And then once they've completed on the north side, they'll then be moving on the south side back to the eastern end of that contract area. Now, all told, that'll take probably on the order of 6 to 8 months. So it's primarily in the summer months, and we set up through the years of research as well as experience in drilling and blasting in other areas of the harbor previously, a boundary distance that we have for doing property damage assessments as well as informing the public, which is 1,500 feet from the distance, which is shown here on the map with the red and yellow line. So pretty much all the properties that are towards the water from 2nd Street in between Port Avenue and Elizabeth Avenue have been notified, those residences, for those blasting, drilling and blasting operations. So to do the drilling and blasting operations, what they do is they first have a drill barge that operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, typically, and they drill an area that's about 100 feet by 100 feet. Right. And then they set off the blast. Before the blasts go off, about 5 minutes before, they'll set off a siren. Mm-hmm. And as it is, with them starting at the eastern end and working westward, the vibrations that people will experience from the blasting operations themselves will be a quick shudder, which, as I mentioned, as it gets closer to the westward end towards this late spring and into the summer period, mm-hmm. they'll become more pronounced. So it'll be a light shudder, won't last for a second, maybe 2 seconds that they'll feel that. But it'll become more pronounced. So we want to make sure people are aware of it. The contractor has, for all of the properties that are within that 1,500 feet, given door hanger assessments to the people, as well as letters and certified mail, inviting them to, if they're concerned about potential damage to their structure, cracks in the drywall, things of that nature, to come out and do a pre-construction survey of their home, mm-hmm. to which of the 638 people that we've notified, about 20% so far have taken. So for people that are concerned, we would encourage them, invite them to respond back in terms of those letters that we've sent out to request to have a damage assessment done pre-construction on their property.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, we're going to take a brief pause, come back and ask some more questions about what's going on, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Cool. We'll be back with the second half of our city after these words. Thank you. Welcome back to the second half of our city, and we're discussing the upcoming, as we say, blast here in the city of Elizabeth. Now, everyone has been warned, and that includes the schools also, am I correct?
Everybody, all the residences within the structures within the property owners within 1,500 feet of the blasting operations, yes. It's
my understanding that the schools would have emails with the schools and door hangers on the houses and the homes?
Yes, and we also had a public meeting last month also, right. Try to get the word out more or less to let people know, because it is a different type of vibration than what people are used to. The vibrations that people experience from planes flying overhead or a truck or a bus passing by oftentimes actually cause more vibration, but because people are accustomed to that, mm-hmm. you know, it's normal. It's ambient background, they don't notice it, but when they feel like the shudder, which mm-hmm. again it'll start very lightly, and it'll only probably be felt by the right. people that are just closest to the waterway themselves. It'll become more pronounced as they go on, and people can sense vibration a lot better than structures right. get damaged by it, thankfully. So it's very, very unlikely that any structure will be damaged at all. The contractor has their own monitoring station, seismographs, set up throughout the area, as well as the Corps has our own independent contractor that we've hired to also monitor vibrations, each and every one, to make sure that it falls within the standards that are set. They actually come from the Federal Bureau of Mines, from all the blasting operations involved with mine, typically in the western states. But those standards are set for both typical residential structures and historical structures, and we have for our contractor set the most stringent standards for those levels.
Now, will the drilling and blasting take place at night?
The drilling will take place pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. Typically it won't happen Saturday night into Sunday because the blasting is restricted. Blasting will only occur during daylight hours, typically between 9 o'clock and 6 o'clock at night. So the drilling operations may begin Sunday night in preparation for a blast Monday morning. Blast, as I mentioned, they'll only happen Monday through Saturday, not Sundays and not federal holidays, mm-hmm. and only during daylight hours, 9 to 6 p.m. And typically the contractor will have about 2 blasts a day, but it can vary depending on what the weather's like, what navigational constraints there are on the job, or whether they're shut down for maintenance. Occasionally when we get into the summer months and you get more daylight hours, they may have up to 3 blasts per day. But again, the blast will only last for a few seconds. It'll be a relatively minor, short shudder type vibration that people might experience. And if people do have concerns about that, which we don't expect any damage to result from it. But if people are concerned, we would encourage them to please respond, and so we can do a pre-construction assessment on their house and structures.
Now, when we talk about a blast, what type of noise can we expect?
The noise, well, all construction activities involve noise. Most of the noise that we've had over the years is primarily not so much related to the drilling and blasting, because the drilling barge themselves are relatively shrouded and are more or less a continuous noise. The primary noise that we get is more from the construction equipment, the dredges that actually go out and then pick up the fractured shale rock, which gets used, I might add, by the way, beneficially to create fisheries off of New York and New Jersey shores. But it's that construction equipment operating, which also operates on a 24/7 basis. But we also have an independent contractor hired that monitors the noise levels and tracks it against both New Jersey as well as New York standards ordinances for noise. We do have weekly reports for both the vibration as well as for the noise that we post onto our website. So if people would like to learn more, I would encourage them to please check our website, and they can look at these reports for any particular activity. We also have I'm sorry.
If you don't mind, just tell the citizens actually the information as far as the website and the phone number where they can get them additional information if they have any questions.
Sure. If you go to our website, www.nan.usace.army.mil/harbor, you'll see a link on the left-hand side of the page for Arth Kill channel deepening. If you click onto that, you'll see another sublinks for vibration reports as well as noise reports as well as Q&As, fact sheet on the project. The current contract that we have, like I said, is Arth Kill Contract 2. There are 3 contracts in deepening the Arth Kill channel to get down to New York Container Terminal, which is the primary user for the 50-foot channel. The third contract we anticipate awarding later this year. This current contract, like I say, the drilling and blasting will be going on this summer, and then start winding away as it gets further west, or going back east, sorry. And then we expect them to dredge it all out and be completed by the spring of next year.
Okay. Now, Bill, is there any other information that you need to convey?
Well, just to summarize some of the points that Bryce made, again, we don't expect there to be any damage as a result of this drilling and blasting. And this is based on many years of experience. The key is keeping the vibration levels down, which is a requirement of the contract. The reason why we provide the opportunity for the inspection is a lot of times, after a blast, people are sensitized and they go, oh, there's a crack in my foundation, which may have been there for 20 years. Right. So again, this is really more to put everybody at rest, so that they don't assume that there's an effect from the blasting. So that's one point. Again, we encourage people, if they have any questions at all, to call the hotline. We would be happy to, Bryce and myself or some others on the staff would be happy to come out and meet with people if there's again a need for more information. Finally, the last thing I'd like to put a pitch in for is on April 20th, once again, the Future Cities will be sponsoring Earth Day, day at the dock. Once again, the Corps of Engineers will be present. We'll be having some of our engineers and scientists there with some exhibits. Hopefully, we'll get an opportunity to give some of the kids an opportunity to see the harbor. Okay. So again, a wonderful event, and thanks again both to Future Cities and also to the mayor, who's been a great supporter of this event over the years. Okay.
And Bryce, one more time, if you don't mind, the website and the phone number.
Sure. The website is www.nan.usace.army.mil/harbor. And then our hotline number for anybody that has any concerns, complaints, issues related to any of this construction activity is 201-339-6470.
Okay.
Alonzo, if I could just make one other comment. I'd be remiss not to mention the late Congressman Payne, who was really one of the champions in terms of getting this Earth Day event off the ground, and has always been a great supporter of school kids. Right. He's a former teacher and a great supporter of both the environment, the Corps of Engineers, and the school kids. So again, he's greatly missed.
I concur, and I agree with you there, Bill. So gentlemen, I want to thank you both for joining us today. And before we sign off, I just wanted to add, as I did earlier on, some events coming up here in the city. Saturday, April 21st, we kick off National Immunization Week. There's several locations throughout the city where you can have the child immunized. 908-820-4246. That's the Elizabeth Public Nursing. Also Friday, May 4th, is the Dare Day Jamboree, a great event for the entire family. 908-820-4043, the Elizabeth Municipal Alliance. You can get more information there. Also, the 15th Annual Fishing Derby, sponsored by the Elizabeth Police Department, PBA Local Number 4. That's taking place at Winesco Park. Saturday, May 5th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You can call the Elizabeth Police Department at 908-370-9727 for additional information. And Sunday, May 20th is the 9th Annual Tour de Elizabeth. It kicks off at 7:30 a.m. here in the city of Elizabeth, a 15-mile bike tour throughout the city. The 9th Annual Tour de Elizabeth. Just call Groundwork Elizabeth at 908-289-0262, extension 203. And following that will be on Sunday, May 20th at 10 a.m., the Cuban Independence Day Parade. Dial 908-220-0102 for additional information. And you can always check the city's website or go to Facebook, City of Elizabeth NJ. And one more time, I'm going to ask you for the website and telephone number. I should have told you that. They're coming back to you, so catch you off guard.
No, nonsense. The website again, www.nan.usace.army.mil/harbor. And again, click the Art to Kill channel link on the left-hand side of the page. And then the hotline number for anybody that may have concerns or complaints regarding to the construction activity in the Art to Kill channel is 201-339-6470.
Again, thank you both, and I wish you much success. Welcome back again.
Thanks again, Alonzo.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in for this segment of Our City. Have a safe and wonderful week. Thank you.